Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hi. Here's a song called Good Morning. Thank you very much. Welcome. We are very pleased to be playing with you this morning. And you can call us Amin's worst dream, the Southern Kentucky Ethereum Communist All-Stars. And we would like to share with you now a very beautiful song written by your old pal Shaka here. The main message of which is to win the war, all you need is butterflies and love.
Hey Solana, we can be your soy boy big brother. We don't have to fight a war for users and developers. We can build apps that bridge us all together. Competition can be over because Ethereum is a positive sound. Built by and for everyone. Hey, Bitcoin, lucky you were never called a shitcoin. You were the first to inspire our Ethereum creator. His magazine wasn't just an ordinary page turner. Even though we don't know your founder, Vitalik found inspiration from your legend. So we should only wage war with butterflies and love. Our infinite garden isn't just a place for fun. Decentralized, permissionless, and open source. Even with the layer 1 as a shield and the layer 2 as a sword. All we need to wage in a war is butterflies and love. Because Ethereum is a positive sum built by and for everyone.
Made for everyone. Banjo solo, here it comes. Mandolin.
Hey, POTUS, we knew that you couldn't forget us. You often save the best for last, as you won for years in the past. Then your meme coin would never have kicked ass. Kicked ass. Even with the security of a wall, we can still build privacy and financial inclusion for all. Everyone. Hey, Ethereum, I still love you most of all. You are the world computer built by all my brothers and sisters. Decentralized, permissionless, and open source. Even with the layer 1 as a shield and the layer 2 as a sword. All we need to wage in a war is butterflies and love. Butterflies, 'cause Ethereum is a positive sum. So we should only wage war with butterflies and love. Pollinate the infinite garden. It's not just a place for fun. Decentralized, permissionless, and open source. Even with the layer 1 as a shield and the layer 2 as our sword. All we need to wage in a war is butterflies and love. 'Cause Ethereum, like ETHDenver, is a positive sum.
That's a beautiful song by Shaka. Written, where was that written, Shaka? It was written in India right after the presidential inauguration at a pop-up Zuzalu. Is that how you pronounce it? Zugrama. I love that. This is Justin Holmes, everyone. And this is mostly his band. And I'm Jonathan Band. I make a song a day. That's Myron. Shaka. I don't know everyone's name very well. Jake, Skylar.
I'm
Chris. Here's a song by Justin, one of my favorite songs by him. It's called On the Morning of the Bake Run.
See me, you can only see my key, but I don't love the chain more than the tree. I pedal toward the sun to make peace with someone, and plant lilacs on the morning of the bank run. Way down ahead, time runs us in a each other's thread. What will just be? Blocks that are ahead generate all of history. Across the chains, I sent one lover grains through Consensys tubes of secrets and chicanes. A zero knowledge proof is for thundering hooves, and through the storm of scams of talking heads and bloodstained pillared roofs. Way down ahead, us in a run time when we love each other's thread. Let what will just be. The blocks that are ahead generate all of history. Flying high will only heal when we decide to stop and think. Way down ahead, time runs us in a runtime when we love each other's thread. Let what will just be. The blocks that are ahead generate all of history.
I love that song so much. Justin, we love that song.
Oh, thank you. I do want to let you know, and I know put Jonathan on the spot with this band. He didn't know everyone. This is Skylar Golden on the bass, Jake Stargell on mandolin, Chris Elliott on the banjo. Chris is from right nearby in Colorado. Skylar's from St. Pete, Florida. Jake is from Nashville, Tennessee, and they're pickers figuring out crypto. It's a good time.
And Myron is here. Myron is a longtime crypto guy. Worked in the Casper place for a long time. What are you doing now? I don't even know. We haven't talked. Myron, everybody.
I am the AI director at a Cosmos SDK
Cosmos.
blockchain
That's what I thought
called
of. Yeah, Cosmos.
Andromeda Protocol.
And an amazing musician to boot. We got one more song for you. Thank you all for sticking around and being here. We're going to attempt this song that I wrote as a rock song, and we're going to attempt it as a bluegrass song, sort of, and see what happens. But it involves some audience participation, which is what I always do. And I have to say, usually ETHDenver crowds are like the worst crowds at doing this, so you guys can maybe break the streak. Your job is really easy this time. All you have to do is when the time comes, you need to shout, "Built on Ethereum!" Okay? So let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Built on Ethereum! Okay, let's 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, so much louder. I know it's early. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the energy we need. Okay. So pretty soon I'm going to ask you for things that have been built on Ethereum. So be thinking about that as you sit there. All right, here we go. We're going to attempt this. I got to look at the lyrics. Okay. The lyrics are very simple, but I can never remember them. All right, here we go. CryptoPunks were built on Ethereum. DeFi was built on Ethereum. NFTs were built on Ethereum. Song a day is built on Ethereum. You love to hate it, can recreate it, endlessly debate it, cause you wish you made it. It's the most decentral, incredibly neutral, uncensorable, built on Ethereum network art. Built on Ethereum. Chunks. Biddle buffle corn. Future of crypto. Built on Ethereum. Built on Ethereum. Built on Ethereum. Built on Ethereum. Okay. I know this is gonna work because I don't know if I can hear you. What's something that was built on Ethereum? Uniswap! Built on Ethereum! Oh, I like that. What else? Coinbase! Not built on Ethereum. Base is built on Ethereum. Jesse Pollock is built on Ethereum. Oh! Built on Ethereum. Oh! Built on Ethereum. Here, I brought some just in case. Moloch down. Built on Ethereum. Protocol Guild. Built on Ethereum. Ayamiya Gucci. Built on Ethereum. Vitalik. Built on Ethereum. Checks. Space. Creatures. Apes. Cats. Vitalik. Lens. Farcaster. Built on Ethereum. Communism. Built on Ethereum. Sorry. Thank you all very much.
Y'all and this is just a broad-based assessment of what we heard yelled out. If y'all came here to build wealth, let me suggest that you build peace instead. And don't cozy up too close to one of them off-ramps. This is the year of the regenerates. Let's get the wars and the bombs and shit ended, and then we can worry about Coinbase and whatever the fuck else.
Love it. Thank you, Justin. That's exactly correct. I'd like to now introduce your host for the day. We had a blast playing for you, and we will maybe we'll see you next year. Oh, you can catch these guys at Shelling Point, right down the street. Later on today, 4
o'clock. We're
4
at
o'clock
Shelling Point.
at Shelling Point. Matt, I'm looking for Matt. Is going to come on stage and be the host for the rest of your day. Thank you so much again. We had a blast with you. So long.
Guitar slide. Guitar slide.
Coffee for drip and a lab coat on fire. Sticky note constellation stuck to the ceiling wire. Gas fees are confetti. They rock on P Island. Homemade in 7/4 time. Shaboom, dose, efficiency pulse. The lag runs lagging in his latency so. Professor Way's got the future on spin, boy. Energy notes dancing where the bottleneck's been. Professor Way's got the future on spin, boy. Bugging tomorrow with yesterday's ram stains. Velcro boots clicking through blockchain debris. Crypto notes flutter like drunk bumblebees. Optimize the board fins. They cackle and shout. Self-sustaining hubs flicker in the blackouts out. Professor Way's got the future on spin, boy. Energy notes dancing where the bottleneck's been. Professor Way's got the future on spin, boy. Bugging tomorrow with yesterday's ram stains. Chaos is not compeller, or it's just a bug I forgot to unfurl. Mainnet shivers as their wild hair glows. Rumored out, nah, just 3 Red Bulls in a row. What you building, prop? A singularity jukebox. How you stay charged? Espresso streak through my cortex. Who's your nemesis? Light runs dial up found. Old as speak, young as each block mine down. Professor Way's got the future on spin, boy. Energy notes dancing where the bottleneck's been. Professor Way's got the future on spin, boy. Bugging tomorrow with yesterday's ram stain. Here's my supply. But we don't need your banker games. We just launch and stake on chain. Go, we pay let the city on sports and chains. We pay let the city with regen brains. We pay let the city on sports and chains. No rug pulls, just pure on chain. Faded, just stay seated. The ETHDenver will leave you heated. We don't need your legacy, cause regen memes are brew afraid. We let the city on sports and chains. We let the city with regen brains. We let the city on sports and chains. Rolling up and slapping chains.
All right. Hey, one quick round of applause for Jonathan Mann, Song a Day Man. Let's hear it for him and the band. That was great. A lot of original tunes, the regenerate audio, some AI tunes as well. Really cool stuff. So my name's Matt Lockyer. I'm just going to do my intro really quick. I'm going to be your MC. I've been an ETHDenver steward for a while, part of the crew. I think I missed the first one, but you know, I've been sort of involved ever since. You can find me on Twitter at Matt D. Lockyer. So welcome to ETHDenver 2025. I did want to just start out kind of light, you know, have some fun. I wanted to maybe give a special welcome to anyone from the Ethereum Foundation, Gitcoin, Vitalik, Friends of Vitalik, and just say, welcome, comrades. Viva la revolution. And, you know, if you thought that was bad, just remember, one, I didn't give you an Elon salute, and two, I have more jokes, okay? So just a little bit of housekeeping. We had a little bit of problem with Bybit. I'd just like to say my apologies. We had some trouble with your sponsorship package because I think you signed the wrong documents. So we just couldn't quite get it together. But don't worry, we're still trying to figure it out. We're still trying to figure it out. Don't worry. And SBF's in the news. Did you guys hear about this? SBF's back in the news. He's tweeting from prison saying it's hard to fire people. Hard to fire people from prison, yeah. I can imagine that's a pretty easy call to block from your boss, you know? Hello, you have a collect call from the Metropolitan Detention Center. Just block that one, you know? But don't worry, guys, you know, those collect calls can get expensive. Don't worry, he's got the money somewhere, you know? Anyway, so that's it for my shtick. Thank you. It's tough to do comedy in crypto. So once again, I'm Matt Lockyer, I'm your MC, and we'll jump right into the content. So really, I wanted to start with something really important. ETHDenver, it's all about the ethos. So one of the most important things that ETHDenver has done consistently from the beginning is lowering the barriers to create, lowering the barriers to biddle, lowering the barriers for hackers, people from all sorts of communities and from all around the world. So there's tons of scholarships, sponsorships, and hackers are always free thanks to our wonderful sponsors. And really what that brings together is the most creative and diverse community in Web3. We've seen just some of the most amazing cultural experiences here at ETHDenver with people getting together from all over and from all different kinds of backgrounds. I mean, we just witnessed this with Jonathan Mann and his fabulous band as well. So there's also free education. There's 250 hours of free content from ETHDenver itself, but also I'm sure, you know, if you're building and stuff, you can get content from all the sponsors and stuff. There's just a plethora of things to learn here to build and everything like that. So there's free food and swag for the builders. They're well taken care of. And also as well,
you know, if you've got trouble coming here with children and stuff, we've got sponsored, subsidized childcare. And lots of kind of zones to make you feel comfortable as well. So definitely check that out and explore. And we've got over $100,000 in scholarships. So that's pretty great. So I wanted to talk about Spork as well. This is the first kind of tokenized cooperative for ETHDenver. This is awesome. We've got gamified experience, collectibles, and patronage distributions, which you'll hear more about in just a little bit. This is a great way to be a part of the community. It's an awesome way to kind of get involved. So definitely check out Spork and just see how you can collect Spork and kind of, you know, put Spork to work. So here we are. We're at the main ETHDenver weekend. Obviously, the building kicked off a little bit earlier, but basically this is the main weekend of content. We've got lots of exciting speakers and excellent content going on. We got the shillages, keynotes, panels, fireside chats, pretty much a who's who of Web3. So definitely this is the place to be. And also just the building continues, so definitely keep going over to the Biddle Hub, see what people are building, you know, drop in, chat with them, and inspire them. Presentations, workshops, it's all happening here too. So Mountain Retreat, if anyone went last year, I was just informed that 3,000 people went, and they kind of took over Breckenridge. So if you've ever been thinking about the Mountain Retreat, you know, now's the time to sign up. It should be a lot of fun. So this is the map, and I'm not going to go over it because there's a ton to go over, obviously. But definitely get out there and explore. And I mean, it's just a lot of fun, right? Like if you don't kind of already feel like it's a lot of fun, you just got to wander around, and there's so much fun stuff. Make sure you also hit up every little corner, the Zen Zone, and all of the other stuff. It's very fun to just wander around here. And check out the map. It's great. It's super, super awesome. So definitely get out there and explore. Okay, so without further ado, I want to bring up John Poller, the ETHDenver and SporkDAO founder, Chief Executive Steward, a million more titles, and super important guy in general. And also, he's the swag master. He's the swag master.
Thanks, Matt. It's good to have Matt Lockyer back, right? He had to take a break to have a kid and do some other stuff. But like, if you don't know, in 2019, we were in a giant pinch because we had a sort of a medical crisis with one of our stewards in like a week before the event was happening. And I called Matt and I was like, dude, you gotta help me with content. And it was almost like nothing was done. We did it in like a week. Now, back then we had like hardly any content comparatively to what we do now, but like he's super OB. If you don't know what that means, it's original Buffacorn. So we don't use OG around here, but we use OB. So thanks, Matt. We love you, man. So he's going to be your MC all day, or for the entire opening ceremonies. I'm trying to limit my stage time nowadays because my voice gets bad and you all don't want to talk to me anyway. So I do have some things to talk about. These little silly characters bouncing around here, these are the regenerates. And you know, we actually, if you've been to ETHDenver for years, you'll know that we started with the Buffacorn and then the Pega Buffacorn, and every year has had its theme. And it's like, well, it's not supposed to be like super serious, obviously. We try to make it fun, relatable, and really just a representation of sort of what it means to be a part of the community. So in this case, we took all the characters and sort of Avengers or Voltron style, we turned them into superheroes. And then you can pick your hero, okay? So we've got Spork Whale. I wonder what we got, wait a minute, that should be Whale Pool, slide guy. Whale Pool, Ether Knight, Spork Man, Professor Gwei, Miter Marmot, and Captain Ethereum. So they all have individually their special powers. Now, we've got a whole bunch of lore on this. I'm going to put up a QR code in just a second. You can check it out. But together, we're Regenerator. Now, what does this mean? If you read the lore, when they all come together, we don't actually have to fight. We're that strong that we can just build together, create together, collaboratively in a positive sum game way. That's what, to us here at ETHDenver, regeneration is a circular sort of cycle and how we create positive sum outcomes for the community, and we minimize extraction and ultimately share the profits with the community as we're successful. So here's the QR code if you want to check out the whole thing. It's totally ridiculous. I'm warning you. You can also just bookmark it for later, but it's kind of fun, right? In fact, the songs that you heard pre-event, and you'll hear them in between speakers, pay attention. We actually created an album about regenerate songs and like all the characters and stuff. It's pretty ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun. So the one core thing that I'm doing today is I'm going to launch the first annual ETHDenver complaint department. So if you pay attention to X at all, or just around, there's a lot of commentary about like ETHDenver and what it is, what it's become, why we do what we do, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to just kind of fire through a couple of these here. ETHDenver sucks. The side events are better. Cool. All right. Well, this highlights kind of like, for us, the paradox of like, it's not either or, it's yes and. It's free. Why wouldn't you come and check it out? I don't know why they don't. But you can do both, and you can be happy about it. And how about this? If all the side events take everybody away, who's left here? And guess what happens when all the side events take everybody away and there's nobody here? Nobody pays for it. Sponsors don't come, and then guess what? There's no main event. So we keep our price down to $0. It's completely free to attend, and that will never change because we're not trying to compete. It's a yes and. Okay? Next, ETHDenver should rebrand. They're not very ETH anymore. Well, we went and looked. 95% of our sponsors and 90% of our content is ETH, EVM, or ETH aligned. Do we have some projects here that are non-ETH? Yeah, a few, but not very many. The signal is strong. So we absolutely believe in decentralization, and quite frankly, any community who comes here and has the ability to build it better than Ethereum and better tech than Ethereum, shouldn't we support that anyway? I don't know. It sounds like we just should have free markets decide that. But we do curate it, and we do often say no to people based on a litmus test of net positive. Be net positive, be aligned with the values and ethos that we have, and we're good. Spork, it's a shit coin. Who cares? Spork, do something. The meme? It's like, okay, well, if you were paying attention, last fall we did our first patronage distribution. Did anybody here claim? We got like 3 people that claimed. Who even knew that we did that? See, like nobody knew that we even did that. Okay, so the Spork design, Spork, you should care about it. Because the more Spork you have, the more you get rewarded for your contribution to the DAO. Now, how do you contribute? Well, you do sponsoring, speaking. Actually, the highest signal activity is submitting a project. So if you're a bidler and you submit a project, you are rewarded for submitting a project with Spork. Why wouldn't you do that? We sent $52,800 in the fall, distributed based on whoever staked their Spork. So the staking contract has a distribution, and we sent that USDC, straight cash, not more Spork. We sent it right back to the community. So brace yourselves. You guys ready for this? Between 7:15 and 10:15 this year, we're trying to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room to get some distribution and things ready and give people the ability to stake. At least $420,000 is coming back to the community. I wonder why we picked that meme. I wonder if it has anything to do with Colorado. I don't know. Stake your Spork. You probably have it. It's on Polygon, by the way. So go check your Polygon wallet that you use to apply. You probably have some. Go stake You can find out, it's app. Or ETHDenver. Yeah, goodness. We're supposed to have it up here, but I didn't put it in. So come talk to one of us, and we'll tell you where to do that. But you can do it super easy. Now, the next couple of complaints, I didn't feel properly equipped to answer them on my own. So I brought with me somebody who I thought might be able to help us with that. So Governor Polis, can you come help me with this? Can we get the microphone for Governor Polis, please? So, sixth time, and while we're getting a microphone for him, I'm going to do what I was supposed to do last year, but Governor Polis, sixth time, he's straight OB Buffacorn. He was here reading a children's book in 2020 with Governor Gordon and Vitalik and literally a Buffacorn on main stage. When we did the virtual, we actually did a fireside virtual with Consensys one year, he and I, and he was wearing his pajama pants while we did it. He loves the community here. He and his office have been incredibly supportive. So I'm here to officially inaugurate you. Let's put it on. Yeah, let's do that. And you can wield your dark spork, sir. He's officially a regenerate.
Nice. Thank you.
So let's talk about these two complaints, sir. You ready?
I'm on it.
Denver, what the fuck? It's too cold and boring. It's mid.
We arranged 60-degree sunny weather for you for the next few days. Please enjoy.
We fixed that shit. You happy?
And I would add, even though it's beautiful and warm and sunny, if you are into skiing or snowboarding, only a couple hours away, world-class skiing and snowboarding for you to enjoy.
And you can literally do it in shorts when it's this weather. So go
Absolutely.
do it. Go do it. Now, boring, Governor. It's boring. Denver, boring.
We got a lot going on here, man. We're the center of innovation. In fact, I asked why the Regenerator has some mushrooms painted on the side. That's because that stuff's legal here.
Yes,
I think
it
you
is.
know that. So
you guys hear that? Yes, we love
check
that about
exactly
Colorado.
which one. But psilocybin's on, and we got a lot going on.
All
Obviously, cannabis is long been legal here.
Even DMT.
I don't know what that is, but I don't know.
We can show you.
No thanks.
After you're out of office, sir. Later. Okay, so now just Denver is a choice. Seems like a really odd choice. So we hear often, like, who decided Denver? Kind of cousin to the first question. But why on earth would you choose this? Now, the first answer is, I live here. We were birthed out of a meetup that was like 20 people and then grew to 500 people in the spring of 2017. Kent Barton right here is the founder of that meetup, and you can thank him for that because I didn't start that. I just came in and we collaborated to build some cool shit, and here we are 8 years later doing the same thing. Now, Governor Polis, why Colorado? Why should we keep it here?
It's because Captain Gway says so.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Look, how many of you are from the West Coast? West Coast? Okay. How many of you are from East Coast? How many of you are from that big place called Texas down south, whatever it is? Yeah. So look, it's because we're super easy to get to for everybody, right? Like you can be in Colorado. Yeah, even 2 hours West Coast, 2 hours Texas, 3 hours, 3.5. So it's like we are central, easy to get to, fun. And we are a center of innovation. We are just like the place where it all happens. We love to innovate. We love to think differently. And hopefully you're picking up on some of those vibes while you're here.
And honestly, because of Governor Polis' support and his office's support, we've been able to really experiment and innovate. Even SporkDAO is possible because of him. So we owe him a lot for being a very visionary leader, especially a technology leader that really cares about humanity first and actually being pragmatic and practical about applications of everything that his office has to oversee. So thank you, Governor. So the last thing that I'll say, we're not probably going to move it, guys. So if you don't like it, you can spork it, which is a soft fork. But, if you don't really like it that much, I suspect you're going to stop coming, which hasn't happened yet. So we love you.
Our record attendance, 18,000.
Yeah, we got a lot of
this
people,
year, so
even more in town.
Get ready.
By
the way, it's amazing how like energetic and bright-eyed everybody looks now. In prior years, I've spoken on like the last day or the second to last day, and like everybody looks like zombies. So this is really cool.
Yeah, man, we're kicking it off differently this year, intentionally. All right, so with that, I'm going to give you the stage to make your remarks. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'll be on at the very end doing an Opolis pitch. Governor Polis, your stage.
Thank you. Well, I just want to welcome everybody to ETHDenver, to Colorado. We are so excited to have you here. I was meeting all the wonderful mascots, Ethernight and Alpha, the Bufficorn, and Captain Ethereum, and all of the wonderful creatures that inhabit this ecosystem alongside you and with you. And you know what? Wearing that stuff ain't easy. Let's give them a round of applause. We love you guys. Welcome. We're so excited to have you here. We are a center of innovation here in Colorado. This is the 6th year that I've got to be part of the ETHDenver festivities, but it's my first year kind of in the opening part. Usually I'm here on a panel or in the middle, and I do hope to come back over the next few days at some point and see what's going on. And I always get to catch up with everything, not everything, but a little bit about what's going on in the ecosystem this year. So I know a lot of you are particularly excited, and it's interesting. I think we can now use and are figuring out how to use AI agents to really empower DAOs to make them more than sort of the sum of the parts, with instructions that allow them to react dynamically and be more part of our successful ecosystems. We're excited about the opportunity for blockchain technologies in general. I mean, just to be able to have distributed services putting people in charge of their own information, their own associations of different forms. I mean, for centuries, we have very rigid forms. We have these things, C corps and S corps and LLCs, and they got us to where we are, and they're fine. But to be able to create the kind of association and organization that you want, and modify and change it to meet the needs of the market or the needs of the members, is a very exciting concept, and that's really on the ground floor with all of you here. And AI and intelligent agents are really going to help make that work and take that to the next level. So I'm very excited to see that discussion here over the next few days. Here in Colorado, we are very technology forward. I'm proud to say that for 2 years now, we've accepted crypto for payment for all state services, including Ethereum. So, you're paying your taxes, going down to DMV or whatever it is, we accept that. We have a My Colorado app, and if you're going to meet many Coloradans here, probably a good quarter of you are Coloradans. That means that when you hopefully you're not getting pulled over by a cop while you're driving, but if you do, right on your phone, that is good for that, your identification. Same with if you need to be 21 to go to a bar. So we have that here. It's working great. Many people use that. 700,000 people use it, and I don't know exactly how many use it as their main form of ID, but probably a few 100,000 of those. So really, we're saying, we have tired and wired, so we say like, tired DAO, wired AI, informed DAO. Tired is like this old thing. I'm legacy, man. Look at that. Like this is called a wallet for some of you young people in the crowd. Like this is what they used to be. But wired is, of course, digital wallets accessible through your iPhone for transactions. So I'm sorry to bring an antique with me, but hopefully you can enjoy that. We're excited here in Colorado to lean into innovation, and that's really, I think, when you ask why Denver, why Colorado, it is really about tapping into the ethos here. Our people, you're going to meet many great Coloradans, make many great friends, renew contact with others. And something about the fresh mountain air and our pioneer spirit will inform your great and exciting work over the next few days. So on behalf of the great state of Colorado, and I would add we're going to be celebrating our 150th anniversary as a state next year in 2026, so we'll have to do something special here at ETHDenver. Welcome to Colorado. Enjoy ETHDenver. Thank you.
mouth like, who's got the keys? Lola fire's huffing, you're just a rat with hair. His firewall splits.
All right, let's hear for the governor one more time. We're just going to jump ahead a little bit here. And we're moving right along. We're going to introduce Joe Lubin. He's the co-founder of Ethereum and the founder of Consensys. You might have heard of it. It's a small project. And yeah, without further ado, Joe, come on up. Use that one there. Well,
Hey, Denver. Thanks for being here. So John Paller asked me to do a 10-minute state of the ecosystem update, given the turbulence of the global economy, geopolitics, and our own ecosystem. Yes, he was hoping that I could bring an optimistic insider's view based on what I and my colleagues at Consensys and across the ecosystem are seeing and what we're doing. So things are indeed more dynamic, uncertain, and polarizing than any of us have experienced in our lives. Important societal and even ecosystem issues regularly separate the population into bitterly divided camps. Social media is exacerbating much of this toxicity with feeds that are designed to incense us with falsehoods or exaggeration, rather than inform us and serve as platforms for reasonable, constructive discourse. Which is why it's nice to come together like we're doing here today, sit in the same room and talk. It's always best to increase the bandwidth if you want to have a better discussion or a better experience. So here's what I know. As the most mature blockchain ecosystem on the planet, Ethereum is on track to become the foundation for a much more decentralized global economy. It is set to become the universal settlement layer for all digital assets, and all assets will be digital or have digital twins. It is also set to become the hub and coordination layer for a huge number of regional, topical, and application-specific blockchains that anchor into it to benefit from its massive economic security. We call Ethereum Layer 1 and the many networks that rely on it Metropolitan Ethereum. Metropolitan Ethereum, the Layer 1 network, and the many higher networks that depend on it are now scalable enough, affordable enough, usable enough, and soon, even now, will have sufficient regulatory clarity to support Web3's broadband moment. The paradigm shift is accelerating because after a decade of work building layers of enabling infrastructure to shift global monetary, asset, and app rails onto decentralized platforms, we're now ready to incrementally onboard more builders, more end-user applications, more enterprises, and billions more people all around the world. 5 months from now will mark 10 years since the Genesis block of Ethereum mainnet. Since then, Ethereum has operated continuously, settling trillions of dollars a year without a single liveness failure, 24/7, 365, block by block. Working together, we have invented various token standards, ICOs, DeFi, stablecoins, flash loans, AMMs, DAOs, governance tokens, NFTs, DIDs, VCs, blockchain attestations, proof of you name it, optimistic and zero knowledge rollups, and so much more. Ethereum is strong in every category of application, but it dominates in the highest value applications. These are DeFi, real-world assets, and stablecoins, and it will continue to do so because it is decentralized and because its community has always been fundamentally serious about what we are building and what it means for the world. Our community is larger and deeper than ever and full of smart and interesting people. And smart and interesting people like to argue. So what are we arguing about? Well, lately we've been arguing about the layer 2 scaling roadmap. That's the thing where we invented an entirely new suite of cryptographic primitives, made metropolitan Ethereum horizontally and vertically scalable, created billions of dollars in value for the network, and gave users and developers cheaper, faster access to whole new kinds of applications. Sounds like a true disaster to argue about. Did it create some problems? It's been 10 years, and I can tell you, constant evolution creates problems. Our work is never done, but this is how complex, ever-evolving ecosystems are developed, via incessant iteration. It is healthy, and it's what makes Ethereum stronger, and it's what makes Ethereum great. In my opinion, the roll-up-centric roadmap of Metropolitan Ethereum is nicely on track and currently very successful. A long time ago, we attempted various approaches to grow scalability. Execution sharding was one direction, but we did not have the technology capable of making this work. Eventually, the roll-up-centric roadmap became the main adopted research direction, enlisting researchers and entrepreneurs to build layer 2 roll-up networks. In order for these networks to establish themselves and thrive, the layer 1 protocol focused on providing guaranteed data availability to the emerging layer 2 protocols. Both optimistic and ZK approaches made progress, and several roll-up networks attracted applications and usage. Block space grew plentiful, and transaction fees on layer 2s kept dropping due to protocol improvements, and consequently, so did fees on layer 1. Layer 1 ceded pricing power to the layer 2s so that they could establish themselves and thrive. And that has worked reasonably well so far, though it makes it appear as though Ethereum is in an awkward adolescent phase, in which it has added some gangly limbs that are not yet well coordinated. Since transaction fees are generally quite low due to recent upgrades, many believe that the present lower pricing power of Ethereum is a bad thing. It can be challenging to some companies due to lower layer 1 revenues, but some layer 2s are achieving good revenues. And ultimately, we've always expected to drive transaction fees very low, with the idea that the characteristics of Metro Ethereum will draw an enormous amount of application activity and transaction volume to itself, and the economics will grow very favorable for both layer 2s as well as layer 1. Maintaining and growing Ether's monetary premium is essential to the long-term health of Ethereum. People have expressed concern that some layer 2s might not be sufficiently Ethereum aligned, either now or at some point in the future. These concerns were partially legit and partially just trolling. There are initiatives at the social layer to bring layer 2 projects into explicit alignment with Ethereum. These include Roll Call, a monthly layer 2 coordination call, which also focuses on layer 1, layer 2 connective tissue, and RIPS, Roll-Up Improvement Protocols. With a roll-up-centric roadmap on track and performing beautifully, Metro Ethereum has become horizontally and vertically scalable. And for me and Consensys, our attention is now directed towards two major pursuits. One, massively beefing up throughput and censorship resistance and shrinking latency on Ethereum Layer 1. And two, defragmenting and restoring synchronous or near synchronous composability across Metropolitan Ethereum. Scaling Ethereum Layer 1 has been a discussion that's grown very exciting, and now there are so many parallel research directions being explored that it's hard to keep track. Some of these include, number one, all the techniques that all other Layer 1s have pioneered, including parallelizing the EVM. Our own Besu client is doing great work on that front. 2, pre-confirmations. 3, multiple current proposers and braid for censorship resistance. 4, raising the gas limit. 5, setting up a reasonable way to gradually scale minimum hardware requirements to track the progress of consumer technology. And 6, native ZK EVM and ZK VM rollups. Another big pain point and opportunity for improvement that has a lot of people excited is defragmentation and restoring composability. Here too, there are many parallel tracks of research, and we are tracking or involved with all of them, including 1, native rollups, which we are exploring in the Linea ZK EVM, 2, hierarchically and laterally communicating sequencers and based sequencing. This is something we do a lot of work on lately at Consensys. 3, fast intent and other lateral bridges and messaging systems. And 4, lateral ZK verification of state changes across networks. These ideas, the problems they solve, and the arguments we'll have while solving them are all part of how we build the world computer. There's no grand design for a universal settlement layer for all the digital assets just sitting on a shelf, ready to be deployed. There's no manual for how to build a new operating system for humanity. There's only one way to build these things. We do it together, iteratively, fork by fork, block by block. Recently, there's been a clear uptick in vocalizing the sense of belonging and identity around Ethereum. Initiatives like Built on Ethereum and new projects like Etherealize are natural responses to the fractionalizing of activity across the EVM space. Regardless of how competitive or even adversarial Layer 2's protocols, products might become, for example, who's most aligned, or who has the highest TPS, who has the highest liquidity, the list goes on. There is a collective ethos and culture that we all share. That ethos keeps everyone ethereal and enables a unique form of mission-driven collaboration. This culture is strengthening every day and ensures that new infrastructure and innovation remains anchored in our shared vision of a decentralized world built for the benefit of users. I and Consensys have been proud to do our part to help drive and steward that shared vision for 10 years of Ethereum, and we're going to be doing much more. Like many others in the community, we've been unshackled recently. The attacks of the former SEC are behind us, and we are excited to step up and resume our loud and active advocacy for Ethereum, Metropolitan Ethereum, and the industry as a whole. The golden age is coming, so zoom out sometimes for better perspective. Enjoy Denver, and never stop building. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much, Joe. Just going to do a quick rewind here, and I am going to bring up Denver. Yes, this is not a typo. His name is Denver, and we're in Denver. Denver D'Souza from DevFolio.
All right. So you guys know my shtick. My shtick is that my organic, legal, grass-fed name is Denver. And if you, like me, find that funny, come meet me and mint my POAP. All right. And by day, I'm also the co-founder of DevFolio, your neighborhood-friendly hackathon platform, which is hosting ETHDenver 2025. All right. I'm now just going to run through some important dates for the hackathon in case you have missed it. The project submission deadline is March 1st, and the hackathon is taking place at the Biddle Hub venue every day from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., except for tomorrow, February 28th, where we will be opening up overnight access to the venue. We also have quadratic voting, which will open up on 1st March at 3 p.m. As John said earlier, we love to give away Spork, and this is how you will be able to get, all the projects submitted will be able to have access to a pool of 1 million in Spork. All right. Other important dates, we have been running team formation and icebreakers every day at 6 p.m. The sponsor judging for the hackathon will take place on 1st March between 10:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. The track judging will be in 2 phases, both on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. And again at 4 p.m. And the finalists will be pitching right here on Sunday at noon to 3 p.m. All right. We also have 5 tracks in which you can win prizes. So we have DeFi, NFT, gaming, infrastructure and scalability, identity, privacy and security, impact and public goods, and DAOs and communities. We'll be doing this track judging again at March 1st at 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. The judging will have 5 tracks, and we'll have 3 judging stations for each of the tracks. The top 10 teams per track will advance to phase 2, which will be announced by 2:30 p.m. And in the phase 2, we'll have 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. We'll have the phase 2. I think this is a repeat. And then each winning team gets $5,000 and a main stage showcase on March 2nd. All right, the top 15 folks who will be selected on 1st March will get the chance to present right here. And they'll also get to be judged by our celebrity judges, who will award them an additional $1,000 cash prize and a special title of the ETHDenver finalists. If you have missed out on how to get yourself checked into DevFolio, you just need to come up with your builder ticket and walk right up to us and sign up for the hackathon if you haven't already. And if you have signed up, you will be checked in by the end of the day. In case you have already registered, here's where you can sign up. So it's ETHDenver2025.devfolio.co. And before I log off, one more thing. So we've been running hackathons since a while. And with ETHDenver, we are glad to announce a new feature that we built internally at DevFolio to help hackers build better. It's AI agent season, so we thought, why not launch one of our own? So Whiplash actually helps you build better. For those of you who have seen the movie, it's like the guy always helps folks he's mentoring build better. So this is an always-on, on-demand AI agent that you can plug your idea right into during the hackathon. It gives you real-time feedback, cross-checking it across 5,000 projects that we have indexed across DevFolio, GitHub, and the wide internet. And it tells you what you can do to build better, and so that we all get better ideas as an ecosystem. We will also have these features for the judges so that they also get some help in evaluating these projects. Right. The entire DevFolio team will be here to help the builders across the weekend. So we have Shreya, Aniket, myself, Cyril, Ashwin, Kautuk, Preet, Anish, and Vanshika. Right. And we can't wait to see what you guys end up building. Thank you.
All right. Denver D'Souza. I could say that name all day long. Okay, up next, talking about SporkDAO, the Board of Stewards, is Russell. I am not even going to try. Russell? Come on up.
Thank you, Matt. Aloha, everybody. I'm Russell Castanero. I'm a steward of the Board of Stewards for SporkDAO, and I'm the investment steward for Buffercorn Ventures. And this is Tim. Say hello, everybody.
Hey, guys.
So Tim is our newest meta steward. He's also kind of a badass. He's working on his own product, and you'll be able to see it if you come to Buffercorn Reloaded on Friday. and he'll also be DJing there. So he's a man of many trades. Those of you who are coming to the many investor and startup events all around the event center are getting emails from him and me, and he's been super helpful, and you'll see a lot more of him coming up in the future. What I want to talk to you about is Buffercorn Ventures, and about 3 years ago, we started Buffercorn Ventures, and the basic idea behind this is that we wanted the next unicorn that comes out of ETHDenver to be a portfolio company. And for the benefit that we provide as a community to go into these companies that are just starting out, to give them a better chance of succeeding, and also bring some of that return back to everyone else. Now, something happened in October that a lot of people got excited about. Who can guess what I'm talking about? You guys are lame. No. So for the first time, SporkDAO gave a dividend. And you may be aware that 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, we changed the bylaws so that whenever there's a return from Buffercorn Ventures, at least 50% of that must go to the membership in the form of a dividend. So Buffercorn Ventures is a regen venture studio, essentially. And we've even changed the model a little bit for the upcoming year to be a community-funded venture studio. So we are looking for early-stage startups who want to go from 0 to 1. And one of the really cool advantages that we give to the startups is that they come in, we work with them, but we encourage them to do activations and pilots here at the event subsequent to when they join. So 2 years ago, you may remember WeLook. You may remember Illust, who did, we were throwing NFTs all over the place, all over Colorado in a virtual world. We have companies like Shield 3 doing great stuff. This year, how many people noticed that the registration process was significantly easier than in the past? Hallelujah, right? That was because of one of the Buffercorn Ventures portfolio companies, Unicorn.eth, made that into an experience that OGs and non-natives alike could onboard, start using Web3 the way that they need to use Web3 if we're going to get the next billion people onto it. So we're really excited. The model works, and now that the whole regen cycle has proven itself, this is your venture fund. This is your opportunity. If your company is getting supported, the community can also support you and benefit from that support. We have some events coming up. So on February 28th, we've got Startup Demo Day. We also have a blockchain policy forum. If any of you are interested in policy wonking, I think we've already got 300 people who have RSVP'd to that. Really exciting. We have Suntory whiskey tasting that is happening later on today. If you know, you know. I can't say any more than that. We have the demo day that's happening. We have Startup Rodeo. All these events were made to make sure that the startups between biddling in the hackathon and being a sponsor had some way to be present at ETHDenver. And so those activities are mostly taking place in the event arena on Friday and Saturday, and we hope to see you. And then, of course, the Buffer Tank Pitch Fest is happening on Friday morning at 9 o'clock right here. Come and see the best and brightest of the companies pitch and get judged in real time before we have the closing ceremonies. So thank you very much. I hope that you all are having a great time. And remember that BV is your venture fund. Thanks.
All right, we are going to hear more about SporkDAO and all the amazing things that you can do with them in just a moment. But first, we're going to bring up a few of our presenting sponsors. And I'd like to welcome to the stage Martin from Zirkit.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Martin. I'm from Zirkit, and I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of Zirkit to ETHDenver. This is my 6th year at ETHDenver. It's always a beautiful event, beautiful location, beautiful venue. beautiful weather. I'm going to keep it very short and sweet. I promise 2 slides about Zirkit. Oh, it's out. 1 slide about bounties, and then I'm going to be out of your face. So Zirkit is a zero-knowledge rollup, and we have the philosophy that rollups are here to provide new features that do not necessarily need to be available on Ethereum natively. We like 2 things. We like security and we like AI. So what actually Zirkit does is that we scan transactions for their intents. And if the intents are malicious, meaning that the transactions are here to hack something, then we don't process those transactions. We don't want our users to be, somehow damaged. The second part that we love is AI. We want our chain to be very, very friendly for AI and all the possible agents out there. And we also use internally AI, for example, for this detection of malicious transactions. So this is what we do. I have one small announcement. We are releasing a new version of Zirkit. That version is called Garfield, and just yesterday here at ETHDenver we have spun up a testnet for it that you can actually use during the hackathon, that you can try, that you can play around with, and roughly in a week mainnet should be coming up. So what is new in Zirkit Garfield? Zirkit Garfield is fully compatible with Pectra. So whenever Pectra gets activated on Ethereum mainnet, Zirkit Garfield will just keep going and be compatible as if nothing happened, nothing changed. However, it is ready for the EIP 7702 support, which is the feature that brings account abstraction onto Ethereum. So on day 1, Zirkit will be supporting that, and all the developers are very welcome to use it. Other than this, we have some optimizations into proving. We are moving our proving onto bare metal. We are improving the availability and robustness of the RPC connections that we are giving to the community. We are getting rid of template proofs, which is something that was part of our stack up until this point, and so on. So if you like Garfield, or if you want to hear more information, please open our website, and there it is. For ETHDenver, we welcome all hackers, whether they hack on Garfield, whether they hack on Zirkit mainnet or on Zirkit testnet in the legacy mode, doesn't matter. We have 3 categories of bounties in here. The first one is for the best project overall that will be deployed on Zirkit. That's for $8,000. We have $5,000 for best DeFi AI project, also deployed on Zirkit. And the third category is for best Telegram mini app integration with Zirkit, also for $5,000. So with that, I am going to step off the stage. Maybe the stage will lit up again. I welcome everybody to ETHDenver. Wish you a good luck and productive week. Thank you.
All right, just a guy holding an HDMI plug. Up next, we have another one of our amazing sponsors. I would like to welcome to the stage Elena from Metis.
ETHDenver, how are we feeling today? Thank you. I was going to hint you that it's supposed to be the applause, but yeah, you did it. Thank you so much. My name is Elena Sinelnikova. I am co-founder of Metis and CryptoChicks. It's funny. Every year when we get excited and say, DeFi is trending again, restaking is the next big thing, meme coin is a culture, we get slapped right back with the headlines. DeFi summer is over, restaking is disappointed, and meme coins is a scam. I've been in the space for 9 years, and it seemed to me it's over and over the same thing happening again. We have an innovation, then a bull run, then some kind of exploit or rug, then FUD, and then a big teddy bear come to hug us all. Well, enough of this loop. This is a year of the regenerates. You might be wondering, what the hell is a regenerate? Is it some magical pill from Ethereum Foundation? No, my friends. Regenerate is the one who don't wait for Vitalik, don't wait for Ethereum Foundation and break out of this loop again, because let's face it, we've been living in a Groundhog Day, but instead of Bill Murray, Phil, we expect Vitalik to get us out. It's time for us to come together and get us out ourselves. Because let's face it, Web3 has hit a wall. It's been, how long, 10, 15 years? User experience, still clunky. Mass adoption, still waiting. Projects, still fighting with each other. And scammers, oh, they are there. And it's happening right when the biggest shift is facing us right in the eyes, the huge, untamed force of AI. AI is not just another trend. It is a fundamental rewrite of how the world works. And what bugs me, it is right now controlled by a few players who treat our data as a buffet they didn't pay for. And we keep feeding it every time we type into ChatGPT or some other tool. So, what do? It's time for us to stop fighting, because if we want to stay relevant, not as a Web3, but as a civilization, we need to come together and need to steer the future before it steers us. Because one way or the other, AI will break free, and there is a danger it could overpower us all. So it is a huge, huge question for us. What do we do next? And of course, we all rely on Ethereum. Ethereum brought us together. Ethereum was a big movement. But let's face it, world kept changing. If Ethereum will change, of course it will. But it's not longer about Ethereum anymore. Or as a matter of fact, not about Solana. It is about all of us. Metis steps in, because Metis has never been just another layer 2. You know, layer 2s, like mushrooms after the rain, popping up overnight. Some edible, some poisonous, some magical. Metis has never been just another mushroom. We've always been a visionary. First one to propose DAO-centric governance. Scan QR for the proof. First, to adopt data availability layer when everybody said you cannot do it. First and only one to launch decentralized sequencer to fight the corruption in L2s. Metis has never waited for Ethereum Foundation. Attaboy. We built what we needed, when we needed, and we're doing it again. Because let's face it, AI is not waiting for anyone. And let me ask you one question. Do you think Web3 is ready for AI? Well, raise your hands who think it's ready. Well, I didn't think so either. Thank you for confirming that. AI revolution is not just coming, it is already here. Learning, developing at the pace we've never seen before. Think about it, it went from experimental to mass adoption in 1 year, in less than a year. And Web3, blockchains, we're still choking on yesterday's transactions and healing the wounds from the recent exploit. So it's not time for us just to adapt to AI or bring AI into the blockchain. It's time to rewrite the entire playbook. And that's what Metis does. with the Metis Regenesis, it is not only the technological change, it is a huge philosophical shift. And this shift based on two pillars. First, infrastructure. Traditional blockchain built for finance, steady transactional ledger. AI does not transact. It learns and grows, it evolves. So we built the infrastructure to fit this reality, representing dual chain. One chain for high AI throughput and another one for Web3 transactions. No bottlenecks, no compromises. That's a regeneration. Hear more from Natalia Amelin talk tomorrow morning. And the second pillar is philosophical change. The world runs according to our philosophy laws, the laws of dialectics. The opposites clash and move the progress forward. AI is our ultimate opposite. It's only a matter of time when it flips us. But here's the twist. According to the law of dialectics, the real power is not AI only or humans only. It is a synthesis. So we see it clearly. AI is the sharpest advisor, and humans in charge with the heart and morals to guide it. So it's a tandem where human lead and AI empowers. That's the power, that's the real power, and that's what less AI making it real. So instead of black box in control of just the hands of a few, less AI makes it an intelligent asset, owned by all of us, learning from all of us, governed on-chain, transparent, monetizable, and accountable to human according to human values. So less AI leads this regeneration in Web3. More about less AI from Daniel Kwok tomorrow afternoon. So here's the deal. We can keep dancing the same dance, bickering about whose mushroom is bigger and more magical, waiting for Vitalik, or the mass adoption that never arrives, or we can come together and do it. Because, let's face it, it's time. And we call every regenerate in this room to join us. So I leave you with this. Are you another builder, another investor, or are you a regenerate? Because if you are, if you believe the future isn't something that we wait for, but something we create, this is your year. A year of regenerate. So let's build it together. Thank you.
You ordered a moonwalk across gas-feed graves.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you. So moving right along with our last presenting sponsor for this block, you're not going to get off that easy, is Alex with Zeta Chain. Come on up.
Express next bottleneck. I see mountain crush it.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Pretty excited for Denver. This is my third year here now. On the way here, I was thinking about the plane crashes that were happening. I was like, you know what? Thank God none of these plane crashes have happened so far. So I'm glad to be here, seeing everyone here. I want to start off by saying this and keep it pretty short. I've been walking through all the events, and I've been going to some side events, but I think we're all missing the collective vision and the mission of Web3, which is making Web3 accessible to the next generation and billions of users in Web2. And to be honest, I think just to speak very frank, I think the crypto product UI UX currently sucks. As a user and as a friend of a friend. Every time I'm trying to interact with a lot of DeFi protocols, every time I'm trying to interact with some sort of application that's crypto based, it's very hard to use it. And if you ask someone who's not in Web3 to use a crypto app, it's honestly very difficult. There's a lot of challenges with on-ramping into crypto. And there's a lot of challenges with wallets, and including security, as we've seen in the past week or so. And we've seen a lot of chains, a lot of bridges. We've seen over 100 or 200 layer ones. We've seen a lot of bridging protocols. We've seen a lot of bridging protocols and DEX aggregation protocols recently as well, but none of it really solves the pain point of crypto, which is how do we create a singular experience to onboard these next billions of users from Web 2 into Web 3. So with more chains, there's a lot more problems, and this is what we're seeing on two sides. On the user side, what we're seeing is obviously, there's a lot of security risks when it comes to a lot of different protocols that are launching, a lot of different applications that are launching. For developers, you have to launch a separate smart contract for every single chain that you want to integrate with. If you're a gaming app, if you're a DeFi protocol, you would have to develop your own smart contract for Solana, for Sui, for EVM. And on top of that, you have to source your own liquidity for every single chain deployment that you want to go live on. And being honest, when the bear market hits, it doesn't really matter when everyone withdraws their liquidity from these pools when the entire market is going down 90%, right? So a lot of the current multi-chain solutions, as I touched upon, really goes into these three topics here. High risk, fragmentation of liquidity, fragmentation of chains, fragmentation of users. So instead, we're creating more and more and more siloed ecosystems than we want to in Web3 right now. And honestly, that's just my current truth of how I see Web3. So Zeta Chain's mission is to unify every single deployment, every single development experience, and a user experience into one singular platform. So with Zeta Chain, we're able to connect to all chains. Right now, we're connected with Bitcoin, Solana, Sui on the way, as well as major EVMs right now. We're not in the business of integrating all these different L1s and L2s and different roles that will exist in Web3. Instead, what Zeta Chain does is we enable these three features here, which is a universal EVM, universal smart contracts, and a universal POS. This is not a technical shilling product, so I'm just going to briefly go over what it does and how I think it contributes to the common mission and vision of Web3 that we're all working towards. So with Zeta Chain, the best single way to explain it is we have our own smart contract layer, we have our own validator sets, and we have observer signers. Simply put, compared to most standard messaging protocols as we've seen, Zeta Chain enables a smart contract layer on top using a hub and spoke model. So think of us as a bus terminal, where Zeta Chain is able to execute smart contract calls across any connected chain. So if you're a user on native Bitcoin, you can send your Bitcoin to Zeta Chain, and you can call a smart contract that will execute a smart contract call on, let's say, Solana. The user on Bitcoin can send their Bitcoin to us, native Bitcoin, no wrapped. We'll swap it for you and we'll withdraw it to you. We'll draw it back on, let's say, a Radium pool on Solana in a one single product click UI UX. And it goes into the universal app messaging here. One of our core apps that we currently have live on Zeta Chain right now is a standard DEX. It's a high frequency DApp. What a user can do is you're able to select any of your source chain assets. You could select Bitcoin or many of the L1s or L2s that we're connected with, choose any asset that you want to swap with, and then choose a destination chain. It could be Solana or any other chain. And in one single product click, you just click swap. It'll swap your asset from native Bitcoin into whatever chain you want. You can use your native wallets from Bitcoin, like Unisat, and then you can also connect your Phantom wallet from Solana as well. And we recently introduced Gateway 2 months ago. We pivoted our direction from a standard messaging protocol. We didn't really see the strong value add from messaging protocols. There was a lot of limitations to it. Instead, we introduced Gateway. Gateway is a new smart contract layer on Zeta Chain, which allows users to read and write smart contracts across all of our connected chains. So if you're a user or you're a developer that built a dApp on Zeta Chain, what you can do is a user on Sui can do any sort of smart contract call for any of our connected chains. So if you're a Sui user, you want to deposit your Sui asset or your USDC into, let's say, a money market into BNB chain, you're able to do that in one single click. And this function is already live with our cross-chain yield aggregator products as well. So overall, we're simplifying the consumer experience and the user experience, as well as the developer experience. In one single click, you're able to interact with all of our chains. You're able to send your assets from one chain to another. There's no wrapping, and there's no bridging. Zeta Chain itself is a canonical bridge in a sense where we have our own validator sets for every single chain that we're live on. We're reading data, we're reading smart contracts for all of our connected chains. So you're having us as a singular source of truth while eliminating a third-party bridge as your counterparty risk for any transaction that's happening. And I kind of explained already how it did it, but what makes us different from others? I think it's just 3 approaches as I touched upon here: the user experience, the technical approaches, and the decentralization security. In terms of security decentralization, we're no different than any other L1. We have our own security, we have our own validator set, we have our own architecture of smart contracts as well. User experience, technical approaches, that really goes into that consumer user experience that I was talking to you about the single-click transactions, single-click swapping, single-click sending from one chain to another, EVM to EVM, non-EVM to EVM, it doesn't matter what chain you're on. As well as the technical approaches. You don't have to be a developer siloed to an ecosystem now. If you want to build on Base, sure, you can do that as well from Zeta Chain as well. You don't have to be limited to what's going on all these different chains out there. Just deploy on Zeta Chain, and you'll be able to use your BNB, Base, or whatever asset from any chain directly. All right, and just to show some of our partners here who have generously supported us along our journey, we've been live on mainnet for about a year now. And if you're considering to build on Zeta Chain, these are some of our current tractions and metrics right now. Almost 1 million cross-chain transactions so far as well. And just to keep it short and just to round it up, we support our developers, and we have a 5% token allocation for any dApp that properly uses our smart contract layer on Zeta Chain. So if you just want to scan the QR code, you want to be a part of the Zeta Chain ecosystem, please feel free. We're always more than happy to support you throughout the entire process. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your ETHDenver.
If your chain's choking ether night whisk, found her at a bullet hook sucking down APIs.
All right, thank you, Alex from Zeta Chain. We're gonna jump right back into some steward content. And I am going to bring up Hannah, who's going to talk about the Spork DAO. She's a board member, and a bunch of the social media stuff going on with ETHDenver. Hannah, please come on up.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. Excited to have you here this morning. As Matt mentioned, I'm Hannah. I am on the Spork DAO board. I've actually been involved with ETHDenver since its inaugural year, which is really exciting. So we're happy to have you here. I had the honor and pleasure this year of being our core PR, comms, and community steward. And what that meant is that I worked with some really incredible agencies and people. So definitely want to give a shout out to Genzio, Yap Global, DevFolio, and Butter Creations, and all the other teams I had the pleasure of working with to make this event come to what it is. In terms of where you can connect with us this week on community and social channels, the Spork DAO Discord is the best place for you to find any help, any questions that you might have, FAQ, Q&A. That's all happening there on Discord. Our Twitter is ETHDenver. We're at ETHDenver everywhere else. You can live stream on YouTube, on Twitch, and then this main stage is also live streamed on Twitter, so tell your friends who may not be here yet to tune in. We'd love to see your posts, engage, reply guy the heck out of us. We love it. You can hashtag ETHDenver 2025 on any of your content, and we'll help share and engage with it. And with that, I am going to bring up one of the Genzio stewards. So this is actually Jason Wilson. He's standing in for Zach Nelson. Jason, welcome.
Thank you, Hannah. You know, even though I'm not Zach, it is a pleasure to be here. Genzio, we've been working with ETHDenver and Spork DAO for the past 3 years, helping out with all community activations, social media, and even across marketing. You know, Genzio is a media and a marketing company, and we do our best to be able to support as well as help out all initiatives that are happening in the space. So if any of you are looking for some media or marketing or community support, please always feel free to reach out to us. But one of the things that we are working on over at Genzio and with ETHDenver is the Regen Treasure Hunt. If you haven't heard about it, one of the main things we really want you guys to do is to head over to the Discord. Link is up on the screen. And you could win up to $3,000 in ETH as well as over $600 in merch credits. I know you all have had pass at all the amazing merch that's here, but one thing that we really want to make sure that we do is participate in this Regen Hunt and always remember that we would not be here without the original SporkDAO board. So I really want to give a huge shout out to John, Russell, Hannah, Kevin, everyone at the SporkDAO team, and everyone who's working here at ETHDenver. Thank you so much and have a wonderful time while you're here.
All right, thanks so much. Thanks so much. Lots of prizes, right, guys? Like, this is awesome. So we're just going to move right along. Unfortunately, standing in for Danny Osario is going to be our lovely Zach Stewart, or as I like to call him, a Paul Rudd lookalike. So Zach Stewart is going to talk about decentralized content.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Hey, everybody. I'm Zach Seward. I'm one of the lead content stewards here at ETHDenver. This is my second year working on this wonderful conference. Just to give you guys a feel for the scale of this event, we're talking about 550 confirmed speakers, hundreds of sessions across a week. We're happy that you're here for the main weekend. There's going to be a lot of great stuff on this stage and the other stages throughout the venue. Just want to shout out all the people who make content happen here. It takes a lot of hands. A lot of people are involved. We had the tireless effort of our reviewer committee. There was over 2,000 submissions for people to talk about the cutting edge stuff that's going on in the world of Ethereum and more. And we reviewed all of those submissions to make sure that we were putting the most high signal stuff on stage across this week. So big shout out to the reviewer committee, all their work. Big shout out to my colleague, Jun Ian Wong. He and I are sort of the executive chefs who plate the thing, right? There's all these pieces, all these various streams coming in to make sure that the content is top notch. And we sort of put the puzzle pieces together to make sure things flow thematically in like the most engaging way possible. So yeah, just a brief shout out to the content team. We are here to serve you guys. We hope that you enjoy the main weekend. And thanks so much for being here. I'm gonna pass it back to Matt, and we're gonna get this show on the road. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Zach. All right, so moving right along, we want to talk about voting and SporkDAO and Spork tokens and stuff. So coming to the stage, David Anderson, tell us what it's all about.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Glad to be a Biddle steward this year. I started coming to ETHDenver years ago as a biddler myself. Now I'm on the board of stewards thanks to an election this fall. And I'm here to just let you guys know that come Sunday, when all the teams have submitted and been judged, you have the chance to preview all the amazing tech and companies that are being built right now. Now, how are you going to preview it? You're going to find in your Unicorn wallet a link to DevFolio where you'll be able to vote. You'll log in. You'll get 100 votes, and we use quadratic voting. So if you give all 100 votes to one team, that's actually about 10 votes in power. We square root it. So you want to browse through, learn about the new tech, and split your votes across. This is important because as community members, we are motivating our biddlers with 1 million Spork, and your votes will determine how that is distributed to the teams. Personally, I spend a lot of time going through all these companies because it's inspiring to see what comes out of our community every year. Some of these will receive Buffercorn Venture funding, and as Russell was explaining, this is the future of our community and the benefits of being part of the SporkDAO. So if you guys are biddlers or have any questions, please seek me out, and look forward to the finals on Sunday. That's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you.
Okay, so that is it from the stewards for now, and we are going to move back to another presenting sponsor. I'd like to welcome, not going to do a good job on this one, Shriram, sorry for the pronunciation, from Eigenlayer.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody. Excited to be here. I'm Sri Ram, founder of Eigenlayer and CEO at Eigen Labs. What is our vision? One of our core goals at Eigenlayer is to accelerate Ethereum. What do we mean by that? So the first thing is Eigenlayer and Ethereum share a lot of core values. What are our core values? Open innovation, the ability for anybody to come in and contribute and build as an equal on the global stage. That's open innovation. Decentralization, the idea that power is not concentrated in one substrate, but it is distributed, decentralized, all of us as equal participants in this global decentralized network. And finally, all of this is in service of human coordination. All of us come together and create value which promotes human coordination. So as I think about these values, actually, I would like to share a story. I'm here in ETHDenver 2025. My first ETHDenver was in 2022. And I was just getting out of being a professor at the University of Washington, Seattle, as the first foray into actually a crypto event. I'd been working on blockchain and crypto all along, but first time I came to ETHDenver, I didn't even know how to get a ticket before to get in, and I couldn't get the tickets. So I was outside the venue, standing and just like talking to whoever I can, find and interact with. And one thing that happened is at the end of the event, I went back and, some of my friends asked, like, how do you like ETHDenver? I said, I went to ETHDenver. Before that, I didn't have much idea about what is Ethereum, but I feel like I'm an Etherean now. And so this is because, we share a common set of values and beliefs. And, it's really an honor for us to be one of the main sponsors for this year's ETHDenver, going from standing outside at ETHDenver without a ticket in 3 years, here, one of the main protocols building on Ethereum. As we think about this, we think about what our core vision is and how we actually accelerate Ethereum. We accelerate Ethereum by accelerating innovation. So if you think about the stack of what a blockchain is, you have all these different layers. You have a core layer of security, a consensus, execution, application, one building on top of the other. And what Ethereum did is modularize this so that anybody can build applications on top of Ethereum. That's the whole era of smart contracts, decentralized applications. And Ethereum, but what you couldn't do with that is you cannot build your own new execution environment or virtual machine and all of these things. And that's what the Ethereum roll-up era heralds. Anybody can build their own new application environment on top of Ethereum, and that's what we're seeing a flourishing of roll-ups today. And many more things that couldn't be built simply as smart contracts on top of Ethereum can now be built as roll-ups on Ethereum. And what Eigenlayer does is take that same roadmap and accelerate it even further. What do I mean by that? Another story, maybe back from 7 years back in ETHDenver, Filecoin, which is a protocol for decentralized storage, wanted to build Filecoin on top of Ethereum. But they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it because Ethereum is not programmable enough to build a whole new decentralized storage network on top of it. But if Filecoin showed up today, with EigenLayer, you can actually do this. With EigenLayer, you can actually do this, where you can build arbitrary decentralized networks on top of EigenLayer. What EigenLayer does is aggregate Ethereum security, which comes from ETH staking, and supply it to anybody who wants to build any decentralized protocol. So we think what this does is to solve one of the core problems I'm hearing people talking about in ETHDenver this week, is everybody's talking about, is Ethereum going too slow? How can we accelerate? How can we go faster than Ethereum is going today? And one way to think about it is there is a fundamental trade-off between these two dimensions. If you want a more decentralized governance, instead of a top-down governance, things will go slower. It's a natural consequence. So on the y-axis, you see like how agile, how fast innovation is. On the x-axis, you see how decentralized governance is. And Ethereum is very decentralized, but it has to move slow because it's this ocean liner. And what we do with EigenLayer is give expressivity, the ability for anybody to innovate and build new and cool things on top without having to change the core substrate. You have a new idea for how to build some changes in the beacon chain. You have a new idea for how to build a roll-up network, a sequencer network, a storage network, an AI inference network. You can build all of this on EigenLayer. Not just you can build them on EigenLayer, they are being built already on EigenLayer. 100+ services are built today on EigenLayer in various stages, 30 to 40 on mainnet, 70+ in other stages of development. We call these AVSs, autonomous verifiable services. They are powered by Ethereum security, and they can express all the functionality that is missing today in Ethereum. How do you get bridging experience better? How do you get better wallet experience? How do you get automated inference? How do you get privacy on Ethereum? All of these things can be expressed on top of EigenLayer. And the call to action is for all of us to go and innovate as equals in this broader Ethereum landscape. With that, I conclude my talk with the prompt, what will you invent on EigenLayer? Thank you.
Orders just a bug I forgot to unfurl. Mainnet shivers as their wild hair glows. Rumored AI, nah, just 3 Red Bulls in a row.
All right, moving right along with another presenting sponsor, I would like to welcome to the stage Rohit from Octo.
Old speak, young as each block mine down. Professor Way's got the future on spin, book. Urging notes, dancing where the bottlenecks been. Professor Way's got the future on spin, book. Plugging tomorrow with yesterday's ram stains. Test for Buddha.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in ETHDenver. And a pleasure to be talking to you about what we've been doing at Octo. Essentially, with Octo, what we're trying to do is we're trying to abstract Web3 for both users and developers, and would love to chat a little bit more about it through the rest of this presentation. If I can just get this to... All right, there's something fishy happening here. Great. So, I think I'm the third or fourth person just today who's been talking about mass adoption, but wanted to share our perspective on what it takes to get to mass adoption as well. And it seems like every time a bull run kind of comes around, everyone's been talking about mass adoption. Well, this is our take on it. Essentially, for any not only Web3, but for any technology to be mass adopted, it needs to go through three phases. One, of course, the basic infrastructure needs to get built out, which we've been building since the original white paper. Next, you need to figure out scalability. Unless you solve for TPS and cost, you're not going to get to mass adoption. But finally, even after you solve for these two things, you do need to solve for experience. It's kind of like the iPhone moment in Web 2, the smartphone moment in Web 2. I don't know how many of you recall, but before the first version of the iPhone, in 2007, 2008, even Web 2 hadn't truly hit its J-curve of adoption. It's really after the iPhone which started the smartphone revolution where Web 2 hit its J-curve of adoption. And what the iPhone and the smartphone really did was it solved for the experience both for the users and the developers. And without that, if you look at Web 3 today, though, Web 3 is very in your face. It's not abstracted away. What we mean by that is, say, for example, in Web 2, you're opening up a simple HTML page. There are probably 10 server requests that are going on in the background. The users completely unaware of them. Even the application level developer is completely unaware of them. But in Web 3, each of those server requests are very in your face for the user. He's very well aware of them. In a lot of cases, he has to sign those transactions multiple times. In a lot of cases, he has to pay for those transactions. And it's just as complicated for developers. And just trying to explain this with an example, and while I'm using a trade example, this is equally as true for any other kind of intent that we'd like to execute in Web3. But say, for example, you have a bunch of tokens on Solana, and you want to buy something on a Polygon. In this case, we've shown that you had USDT on Solana, but you could have had any dog token on Solana, and you want to buy something on Polygon. It typically involves 6 or 7 steps, right? You first need to get Sol on Solana to pay gas fees, do a wallet connect into a DEX, sell your tokens, bridge your assets to Polygon, get Pol on Polygon to pay the gas fees, and then buy your token on Polygon. It's 6 or 7 steps to do this simple kind of execution. And it's true not only of these kind of trade intents, but it's true of any kind of generalized Web3 intent that you need to solve. And that, of course, leads to a completely broken experience. What you see with Octo and what Octo enables is, so it's a platform that abstracts away all of these Web3 complexities for users and developers. What you see on the left-hand side over here, on my left, your right, is an Octo wallet app, which is a client of the same platform. And in this client, what you'll see, I'll show you a quick demo. What you'll see is that simple transaction of Solana to Polygon is a single-click experience. People don't have to worry about gas fees, about bridging, connecting to different DEXs, different RPC nodes, et cetera, et cetera. So the way the experience would look like, you'd come, you'd find a token, it's not visible, Wallex on Polygon, you see you have USDT, you don't even know which chain you have USDT on, you select it, here it was USDT on Solana. Well, the transaction's gone through, but basically, it was a single-click experience. So, the user had a very Web2-like sex experience. He didn't have to do these 6 or 7 steps to actually get there. He clicked it once. The transaction went through, completely single-click. You go to the transaction history. You can actually see the 6 or 7 steps that happen in the background to actually enable this. So for the user, it's a completely Web3 abstracted single-click experience. Octo Wallet is also available for download in the US and all over the world. I'd encourage you guys to download it. It's a self-custody wallet, but it gives you a completely Web2 sex-like experience. Now, while the user journey is so complicated, think about the developer journey. A developer, if he wants to enable such kind of use cases and such kind of experiences for his users, what would he have to do? He'd have to build and integrate with an embedded wallet, a social login-based embedded wallet. He'd have to build in delegation capabilities. Why is delegation important? Let's say there's a mobile app game developer. As part of the gameplay, I need to transfer an NFT from myself to you. Now, you don't want an interrupted gameplay where for that on-chain transaction, a separate wallet app is popping up or the user's having to sign the transaction, which means the app needs to sign the transaction on the user. If the app is signing the transaction on behalf of the user and taking control of his wallet, it needs to be behind a policy engine, and that needs to be a dollar-based policy engine. So again, if the Octo app was, or the Octo platform was not there, a developer would have to build all of these capabilities himself. He'd have to do all sorts of gas and liquidity abstraction, which means that he'd have to integrate with lots of different paymasters, with lots of different bridges across different ecosystems. He'd have to build generalized intent solving, find the best part to kind of execute for this, do transaction bundling, execute 6 or 7 transactions that I'd mentioned earlier, do lifecycle management for all of them, do all sorts of data and RPC integrations. And he'd have to do this across all ecosystems, not just one ecosystem. With the Octo platform, what you see is all of this complexity is simply 3 or 4 API calls. So thousands of lines of code, hours and hours of development effort, it gets cut down to simply 4 API calls, an init API call, create wallet, send the trade intent, and view the history of the portfolio. Send the trade intent. The trade intent is only one kind of intent that you see over here just as an example, but it could be all sorts of other intents, whether it's NFT-based intents, reputation-based intents, et cetera, et cetera. Coming to how do we do this? This is a little technical, but I thought it'll be interesting for you guys to also hear about how we are doing what we're doing at the back end. There's a lot of kind of 3 years worth of effort that's gone into building what we've built. So starting with having an embedded wallet with delegated signing capabilities, it's an MPC infrastructure run and secured by AVS operators. We work very closely with EigenLayer and Sriram on this. It needs to have a policy engine, which is a dollar-based policy engine. You need to have what we call a unified liquidity layer, which does liquidity and gas abstraction. It's essentially a ERC7683 compatible solver network. And we're actually the only ones who are taking ERC7683 to beyond EVM ecosystems to Solana, Aptos, and Cosmos as well. You need a generalized intent solver. What it fundamentally does is it enables asynchronous transaction lifecycle management. You need it to be programmable and extensible, so we've built what is called a blocks hub. So any chain or protocol can come and write an adapter into the blocks hub, and and through that, users and developers are able to access that chain and protocol while the platform does all the heavy lifting of abstraction. All of this is put together by the Octo chain. And on top of this, we have user-friendly Web2-like JSON RPC-based multi-platform SDKs in Flutter, iOS, Android, and even Unity for our gaming customers. And this is what I mean by developer experience abstraction, right? Developers get a very Web2-like experience. Developers are able to use our platform without knowing nuances of blockchain, without having ever written a line of Solidity code. That's what the platform looks like. We're live, we're not theoretical, we're live. We have about 50+ projects building on us. These 50+ projects have about 14 million wallets, 2.5 million transacting wallets, and about $1 billion of volumes flowing through the platform already. These are some of the use cases that people have built on top of us. It's gaming, it's social and consumer, and it's DeFi. On gaming, for example, we have the largest fan engagement platform in Asia built on us, various other games, primarily with a lot of NFT flows. Social and consumer, very interesting real-world application. And that's what I get excited about, because the people who are using us, these are very real-world applications. On social and consumer side, for example, the company who has the exclusive tokenization rights for all the train tickets in India. 95% of India travels by trains versus flights. And this company has exclusive tokenization rights for all the train tickets. We power all of their backend infrastructure. On the DeFi side, multiple trading apps where people still want to give a Web2-like, SEX-like, single-click experience is being powered by us. We're also very, very deeply integrated into the Hyperliquid community with about 4 or 5 dApps already integrating with us, 20 of them in talks to potentially work with us. So that's pretty much it. That was a quick introduction to Octo. Our testnet is live. Our mainnet is going to go live in about 1.5 months. Very proud to also announce we're one of the hackathon sponsors here. We're one of the presenter-level sponsors in ETHDenver. The bounty is live. I'd encourage you guys all to come check us out and maybe build on us. Thank you.
Every day, cows are voting, vibes are flowing, buff-eyed corns are still a-growing, while the world is breaking down, we're regening.
Doing the HDMI dance. All right. Yeah, so I'm actually interested in this next project because I am a developer in the space. I'd like to welcome to the stage Jason Zhao from Story Protocol. Really excited to hear what he has to say. So they won't start until they can see your screen.
Okay.
So present. They'll do a white and then
All right. Are we good? All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I know it's like the very beginning of ETHDenver. You guys are probably either under-caffeinated or over-caffeinated, so I'll try to keep this interesting and punchy and exciting. So I'm Jason. I'm one of the co-founders of Story, and we're building the world's IP blockchain. Before I go into Story, though, I want to address something that's much bigger and much more interesting than just Story, which is what is intellectual property? Now, whenever I mention IP to people, whether it's in crypto or outside, I get three reactions. The first is confusion, the second is boredom, and the third is fear. And so I want to kind of explain and showcase what IP is. A lot of times people think of IP as a really legalistic concept. They think about lawyers, they think about documents, and that is partially true. But on the other hand, IP is also a $61 trillion asset class. It's one of the largest asset classes in the world, and that surprises people because IP isn't just the Hollywood movies that you see or the songs that you see on Spotify. It also encompasses science. So you have Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, the biotechs and pharma companies. You also have the biggest brands in the world. So Apple, Disney, McDonald's, some of the most iconic logos, fashion brands like Louis Vuitton. That is all part of the intellectual property asset class, and that's what we're focused on at Story. So IP is a massive market, but it is also a massively inefficient market. And so you think about $61 trillion of value. If you wanted to just create something as simple as a Darth Vader lunchbox, how would you do that? You would first have to have the capital to hire a legal team. Then you'd have to have the know-how and the connections to talk to the right people at Disney. And then you'd have to get in a room and do a negotiation. And if you're very lucky, you'll come out of that with a contract. And after the contract's signed, they'll be auditing you. And there will be royalty enforcement mechanisms that you have to go through. And so unless you're one of the top 0.1% of players of capital and know-how, you're not able to participate in this $61 trillion market for intellectual property. And that's what we're trying to change. So my thesis is that blockchain's killer app is to create unstoppable digital markets for new types of assets. That's what Bitcoin did for money and for the financial system in 2008, and that's what Story is trying to do today for intellectual property. And I think the time is right for something like Story to exist. In the same sense that Bitcoin's Genesis block happening in the beginning of 2009 was a big rebuttal to Wall Street and the banks, Story is a big rebuttal to this AI Napster moment that we're all facing. This crisis in intellectual property where creators and IP holders are having their IP stolen from them without compensation by large AI companies. So we're in this world where AI, on the one hand, is super inspiring, super powerful. I used to work at DeepMind, Google's AI lab, so I'm a big believer in the technology. And you get interesting experiments like Drake in Weekend songs, in an AI-generated remix, or Harry Potter in the style of Balenciaga. But this is also illegal, and it's also creating problems for IP holders as well. So how do we get the best of both worlds? Our thesis at Story is that AI is a force for good, but in order to harness it positively, we need an internet-native IP system. Right now, the pen and paper legal system, it comes from the Gutenberg printing press in the Renaissance. And we're using a 500-year-old pen and paper legal system to try to accommodate the internet, social media, and now generative AI. Our thesis is that an internet-native IP system will be blockchain-based, and Story will be that new internet-native infrastructure for governments, for companies, and for creators. So our thesis is that we want to take all the static content that you see around the internet and transform them into programmable IP Legos. What does that mean? It essentially means taking static media files and instead embedding within these media files the terms for how IP can be used. How much does it cost to use this IP? Who created it? When? On what application? What applications can I use this IP on? What are the royalties I have to pay? Imagine an API or a QR code around every single piece of content on the internet, and it can be brought from one app to another, just like tokens in DeFi. And this isn't just a technical innovation. We spent a lot of time and resources on the legal side as well. So it's not just the smart contract parameters, but they've actually mapped one-to-one to a legal framework that we've developed in-house called the Programmable IP License. This is open source. Anyone can use it, regardless of whether they're on Story or not, and essentially creates a legal wrapper around every single IP on Story. And we're really inspired by products that actually work in blockchain. And one of them is undoubtedly stablecoins. The stablecoin approach is something that we take. What did stablecoins do? They took the US dollar, which is a primitive that works around the world, everyone interacts with it, and they brought it on chain, and blockchain made it better. Now you don't need to use Swift, you can pay anyone with a wallet address. So they're essentially flipping the digital cash system with stablecoins. And that's what we're doing, but for IP and for this pen and paper legal system. We're not trying to usurp that. We're trying to extend it. We're trying to bring it on chain. We're trying to 10x the market cap of IP by making it easier for all of us to transact, own, and monetize our intellectual property. And so the way this works is we have a custom purpose-built layer 1 that we built from scratch. And then on top of that, we have a smart contract protocol that's natively enshrined called the Proof of Creativity Protocol. It maps one-to-one with that license I was talking to you about. And then, of course, the most important thing is the applications that are built on top. So I want to end just by showing you guys what that looks like concretely. The first is a use case called Ablo. So this is a real app on Story. The team is here. They're great. They have actually partnered with brands like Crocs and Balmain. This is an example of the Balmain partnership. So they have this blank Balmain shoe. And then you can use generative AI to actually customize this shoe. If it gets popular enough on Ablo, they'll actually manufacture that shoe and sell it at some Balmain stores. It's an activation they did. The revenue that's generated is split using licensing on Story so that Ablo, Balmain, and the original creator can all monetize via Story with the underlying payment and IP infrastructure. So this is more of a single-player example of how Story is being used, but IP Legos, it implies composability, and I want to show you guys an example of that composability of IP across applications. So here we have 3 different people and 3 different apps. The first one is called Magma. It's a Web2 creator tool that we work with. They have 2.5 million artists. Imagine creating a work of art on Magma. You can seamlessly register on Story, set the terms for ownership if you worked with other people, and how other people can monetize it on other apps. Once it's registered on Story, it's published to a global IP repository on-chain that any other application that is connected to Story can use. And in this case, it's also registered on a first-party IP portal, which is like a GitHub for IP. So a second person looking for an anime character to use can actually discover this first person's artwork, along with all the terms and conditions for how to use that IP. They can purchase a liquid license to use that, and then use that IP anywhere else on the Story ecosystem. In this case, they're going to bring this IP over to Mahojin, which is an AI remixing app that's built natively on Story. So they can actually make some tweaks to this character if they don't think it's perfect. Yeah, so essentially, imagine they remix this on Mahojin. This is a second IP asset that is now also a separate atomic entity on Story. So now there's a genealogy, there's a 23andMe for IP, an IP graph being built with the relationships between those IPs. The second IP is now also an IP asset on Story. So now a third person on Sekai, which is a comic creation tool, can find this remix character, and they can actually plug it in straight into a comic. If this comic that the third person is making, who, by the way, had never talked to or interacted with any other app or other person on Story, if this comic generates revenue, then that payment is actually routed via Story instantaneously to everyone who contributed along this tree, along this graph, and Story is the underlying IP and payment system. So that's the vision of what IP Legos really means, and that's kind of the vision that we're building to, and in many ways, this vision is already alive today. I'll just quickly wrap up by talking about Story's plans for 2025. So first and foremost, IP is a concept that people care about, right? People understand. I get DMs from creators who have never heard of crypto that are interested in Story, and so we want to leverage that. We want to work with governments and institutions. We want to help make the global IP system more efficient in the same way stablecoins are making money transmission more efficient for governments and for multinational corporations. We want to continue to focus on AI. I think this is where the IP problem is the most acute, and it's something that my background really, I'm very interested in. So continue to work with Stability AI, other large AI companies, as well as our research partnership with Stanford. And then, of course, bring the world's best IPs on chain. So we've already started doing this with Blackpink, BTS, Justin Bieber, but I think that's just scratching the surface. And so that's what we're trying to do in 2025. And really appreciate you guys coming along early morning to kind of hear more about Story and hear more about IP. So thank you so much.
Young as each block mine down. Professor Way's got the future on spin.
All right, so moving right along, I am excited to bring to the stage our official scholarship sponsor for the builders. This is Alex Z from Pharaohs Network.
Hello world. So I'm Alex, the CEO and co-founder of the Pharaohs Network. So who we are? Yeah, I think Pharaohs Network is a next generation EVM compatible layer 1 blockchain. While technical side, our mission is pushing the extreme of parallelism for ultra scalability on chain. And on top of our technology foundation, we are also building a global asset transaction network, which our mission is to bring the most diverse asset types to Web3 for trading. So why we need another layer 1, right? This is always the question I was get asked. Hopefully, these are the takeaways you can take to home. Firstly, Pharos will be the first EVM-compatible layer 1 reaching 2 GHz per second from scalability side. Second, with our generic co-processor architecture we brought on top of the world computing model, we're allowing heterogeneous computing to be fully executed on a layer 1 network. Therefore, our network is also ready for next generation decentralization platform for computation-intensive application innovation, including AI, ZK, etc. The third one, Pharos, a new unique side, is that we're onboarding high-quality real-world assets to kick off a universal financial platform. So we have started our project last July. We've been focused on the R&D for our infra side. As for now, in our DevNet, we are already able to achieve transaction of 12,000 per second. And this is under a very moderate, low configuration server setting of 16 core, 64 gigahertz of the memory. And this performance is also achieved on top of account size of our billing, the transaction between them. For our mainnet, our goal is reaching 50,000 transactions per second, or equally 2 gigahertz per second, still under a very moderate server requirement, which is 32 CPU and 32 core, 64 gig net server setting side. So this, we believe, will lower our barrier for our ready node service providers. So behind this extreme performance is our 7 years of research and engineering effort on building high-performance blockchain technology. Many friends know we were from Ant Financial, who is one of the most innovative fintech company. And we, in the past 7 years, we have developed, and we also open sourced and put research papers regarding from the Consensys, execution, storage, and our special processing network technology as well. So Pharos network is not a black box technology. So we welcome people to check on our white paper and our related research paper for details. Moving forward, building a universal asset platform, we're starting with a high-quality instrument-grade real-world asset for the core asset trading scenario. So while we truly want our eco-partners together to pioneer the RWA5 revolution, from the Pharos team perspective, we are specifically focused on high-quality, yield-generating real-world asset on-chain. We have partnership with Ant Digital Technology, and by the end of this year, we're expecting to have 300 million of high-quality institution-grade RWA asset on-chain. We are all ready to open our network. So in March 6th, we opened our DevNet to the developer publicly. And in early April, we officially launched our testnet to all our users. So this is one particularly eco-building program we are now executing, Pharos Builder Basecamp. This is a global initiative where we aim to bridge the gap between the TradFi and the DeFi to unlock new potential in RWA, payment, and beyond. So there will be 4 tracks in our Builder Basecamp program, which are including RWA, PayFi, DeFi for innovative DEX, smart wallet, etc., and open innovation and the infrastructure side for AI, decentralized financial plus AI, and also new tooling for dual VM development and high-performance intelligent APPs. So besides our building Basecamp, we also have our Eco Grant program online now. So this will be a $20 million grant, which please check on our website for details. Besides those, including incubation, including develop advocate program, etc., are also we are going to execute this year. We welcome all our developers to join the fellows from the infra, from the wallet, from the stablecoin, from DeFi, all those categories to further building the next generation of the asset exchange platform. At the end, we really want everyone to check on and join our community so we can build in together. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Alex. So that's it for me as your MC. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to pass it off to a couple more presenting sponsors, and they're just going to roll right into a really exciting panel after that. And I'm really happy to announce the next person. It was a very fun, lovely woman I just met backstage. Coming up is from Polkadot is Chrissy Hill, y'all.
Call me well connected. I call it.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Chrissy Hill, and I work at Parity Technologies. Parity is the leading technical contributor to Polkadot. So I essentially work at the labs of Polkadot. And as a result of that, I have the great fortune of working with some of the best engineers on the planet. And one of the problems is there's just not enough of them, right? We have a global tech shortage of talent. And there's a lot of figures out there that all of us should pay attention to. In my day-to-day job, I'm thinking about the legal and operational requirements that it takes to run Parity and to help build Polkadot. So this is something that it's on my mind quite a bit. There's a lot of money that may be lost as a result of an IT skill shortage. There's a lot of jobs that will remain unfilled. There are a lot of people who need to be upskilled. 6 in 10 workers just in the US need to be reskilled in the next 4 years. And, it doesn't account the fact that there are boomers who are hitting retirement age, and so we have an aging workforce. We have a tech talent shortage. We have all these people that need to be reskilled, and we have a lot of things to build this new digital world that we all want to see. And that's something that's really important to Polkadot. We are all about a multi-chain world, about interoperability, and about seeing this Web3 vision realized. So how do you do that? How do you solve this real-world problem? And we have a suggestion, and it's something we put into practice at Parity. But before I get into the specifics of what that solution to the real-world problem is, I thought I would share with you a little bit of advice that my mother used to give me when tackling real-world problems. And she used to remind me that intelligence is knowing that tomato is a fruit, but common sense is knowing that tomatoes don't go in a fruit salad. So, we're good? So just again, to say that, intelligence is knowing that tomato is a fruit. Wisdom, real world experience, common sense is knowing it doesn't go in a fruit salad. And so what I can definitely say about hiring, bringing in tech talent, is that the best teams are the ones who have the most diversity of thought within that team and also the most diverse skill set. And this is something that has been apparent to me. It's like you know, a tomato is a fruit, it's a fact. And it's just not present in the same way in homogeneous environments. So, this is something where whatever solution we need to put in place needs to focus on diversity of thought and diversity of a skill set. Now, going back into a few more specifics, one of the things that we all have to deal with in the tech industry is a load of acronyms. And whether those acronyms relate to what you're building, SDK, API, TPS, TVL, or they relate to our day-to-day life, making communications easier, like writing LOL or IRL or FOMO. This is something that we all have to deal with. And lately, there has been another acronym that has been dominating the news. And, you know, as the list of acronyms that we use is varied, so is the number of executive orders that President Trump has signed lately. And many of those executive orders have focused on one of the more divisive acronyms, and that is DEI, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. Now, I'm not here to get into the debate about DEI. I'm not here to talk about the history of DEI. But what I am here to talk about is something that's called Framework 1002. And that is a way to ensure that there is diversity of thought within tech teams. So what are the components of Framework 1002? And by the way, they are merit, innovation, and inclusion, which of course is its own acronym, but I'm not introducing any more of those. MII is actually 1002, using the Roman numerals, and it's actually a very auspicious number. So this is what we put together and focus on when we are looking at hiring the best tech talent. Merit goes without saying. You can definitely look at qualifications, skill sets, degrees. That's easy to confirm, and I think that's something that most everyone can agree on. Innovation is one of the other components. And actually, innovation we focus on with case studies. And we look at people's creative thinking, their mindset. Are they using interdisciplinary skills to answer these questions? And we can test that very easily through case studies. And again, it's something that we do. And interestingly enough, the Max Planck Institute has done their own research on this in robotics field. And they have found that there were 7 clear benefits that were apparent in diverse teams, and it was something that they were able to test in their own hiring process. And it was over 25 years. Now, again, we've talked about merit, we've talked about innovation, and now we'll talk about inclusion. And this is what will get us to the bottom line, and it's something that all of us who are building, anyone who's a business owner, needs to focus on. So, if from the very beginning your project is including as many user viewpoints as possible, and that's baked into your project plan, it is something that can drastically decrease the amount of money you have to spend on the user testing phase. And because user testing accounts for 15 to 25% of a total project's budget, that's an average, imagine the money you could save if you actually did focus on ensuring a team could reflect users' viewpoints from the outset. So while we talk about acronyms, and we talk about the impact these acronyms have on how we communicate, how we build our teams, how we interact with each other, the one thing I don't want them to obscure ever is some of these fundamental principles. And again, we're all looking to build this better world, this digital world. We need the tech talent to do that. We need people to be skilled. And there are a number of reasons that range from adoption through to your budget, through to just attracting and building the thing that you want to see in the world and making sure we have enough people to do that. Where if you're focusing on these qualities that we put in place, this Framework 102, we think we can achieve that. So I'll leave you with one final acronym, and that's WAGME, because certainly we all want to work together to build this digital world that everyone can appreciate and adopt. Thank you very much.
My device, nullifier sniffing by my corpse too crisp. Mainnet gossips, tastier than breakfast chips. Story, flurry, hack, flurry. Mama's making news before the cold reload. Jot receipts in my cheeks. Eyes everywhere, that's 3 bird phones. Haunteries whisper, king chomping blockchain bones. Make it down to voted fuck.
You guys hear me? Can we? I'm gonna go really fast because one, y'all are tired already of listening to us, and two, we're a little bit behind, so we're trying to get back on schedule. So I'm gonna dive on the grenade and like speed run, 2 minutes. Who's gonna time me? Who wants to sit in a beanbag and like throw bombs at me when I'm over? Because I usually do that. All right. Okay. So Opolis, we launched Opolis at ETHDenver 2018. That's this. At the first ETHDenver, we were up talking about decentralized employment, crypto payroll, benefits for independent workers, all that kind of thing. It was really just an idea at the time. Come on, what are you doing? There you go, good boy. Now we're $60 million in payroll, over 1,000 members. We have a community of over 2 million people, and we've distributed 440 million work tokens, which is our community token. So the business works, but y'all dealt with health insurance companies? The meme is kind of intentional here. Socially, the Luigi Mangione issue has brought this to the forefront. It's not the right way to go about it. What Opolis is going to do next is going to be the right way to do it. Because what we're doing is we're going to bring healthcare on chain. Healthcare insurance is one of the most corrupt businesses on the planet. They are fixed at 15% profit. So what are they going to do? Jack revenue. Where do you think your increase in premiums at 40% a year come from? Managing profits. It's not actually about efficiency in the market or healthcare expenses went up. They want it to be inefficient. They are arbitraging the inefficiency, and it's basically made healthcare insurance unaffordable for most people in this country. True story. In 5 years, we've seen premiums go up almost double. Bringing it on chain, restaking, reworking the entire infrastructure of CeFi on chain, creating risk pools on chain, incentivizing holders on chain, and it's actually not it's not my laptop, I can tell you that. But the high level is we're going to take it on chain, okay? And we're going to basically de-risk insurance through community, bring transparency to claims, and actually bring humane health insurance on chain. So I'm not going to go through all this because it's just too much, but we're going to start with staking premiums, corporations, individuals. You can earn yield, allocate that towards your health insurance premiums, and then ultimately create risk pools on chain to pay the actual claims. Serious. Partnerships we're announcing today, EigenLayer, Renzo Protocol. We have great investors from Greenfield and Draper Associates, Compound, Alpha Growth. We've got a team that's forming here. We've got many more interested in this. There's probably not a more socially important topic than healthcare. Gong me, baby. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce, if you guys want to talk to us, we are at the Spork Whale Lounge, by the way. So Opolis is giving away swag. But I'm going to introduce the next panel. So we've got several, you could say, OGOB contributors from not only the Colorado community, but also from the larger community, talking about Ethereum's next chapter and how we work together, both from the Ethereum side and L2s and all the different collaboration pieces and parts So Austin Griffith and Mark Balin are going to anchor that panel. We'll let them introduce themselves here shortly. We got a quick tech change. We're going to move all this out of the way and set this up. So give us just a couple minutes.
Sunrise every day. Gals are voting, vibes are flowing. Buff-eyed corns are